And that was the second time I got crabs. Anyway, welcome everybody to After the Roll, Mark 3, version 4, the final countdown. I am your host, Clan Diesel, along with all of my fellow lovelies here with me. I've got Dr. Diz DM.
Yep.
Apparently, the cat did get his tongue.
Right.
Lady Chaotic.
Oh.
The one, the only, the Admiral, Doublebuck. And Ellen.
And Ellen Strikes Back.
The sequel.
Oh.
This time it's personal.
Oh, dang.
Well, if you're here if you're here and you're in chat, you're going, wait a minute, there's more than 3 old dudes here. What the hell is going on? Well, I have the answer, believe it or not. A long time ago, we started a podcast called After the Roll, where we discussed what was going on with the campaign. But then we stopped, and now we're doing it again for the 3rd time, and this time with feeling. So now on Thursdays, we're going to interchange. So this Thursday, After the Roll, the first episode. Next week, 3 old men yelling at Cloud. Then, After the Roll. Are you seeing a pattern here? Because that's what we're doing. So I hope everybody is doing well this fine Thursday evening. The people here with me seem to be doing well. They're a little chatty. They're a little talkative. They're a little trying to hide their laughs. Either that or they have gas, which is fine too. Whatever you want to do.
I'm going to go with both.
Both. They want to laugh and they have gas. So they're like me. All right. So without further ado, we are going to start. And what I would like to do, starting out, since this is episode 1, and some people may be going, there's more than 3 people here. Who the hell are them? Let's introduce everybody and kind of figure out who you are, what you do, and why you're on this show. So I think we should go first with our beloved DM. Dr. Diz DM, talk a little about yourself if you would.
Okay. I've been DMing D&D campaigns since the early 2000s, I guess early 2000s. So probably 15 years or so going on. Currently, we are playing a campaign that is pretty much just started. I think we're about a year into it. But the first year we didn't get a lot of sessions in, episodes in. So we're in the second year. We're about to episode 20. I think that's the next one.
The next episode, yeah.
It's a homebrew campaign that I'm put together, but it exists in the world of Faerun. If you're familiar with that, the Sword Coast and stuff like that. That's primarily where everything's happening.
All right.
You want to know more about me?
We'll come back to you later.
See, I got a hat.
That's true. That's true. We would play the Dr. Diz DM hat-wearing drinking game, but you would all die.
Except for this
as long as you pick
Buck's
Tool.
got it.
All right.
Listen, he didn't have a hat on when he first came on camera last week, and I was scared. I was like, whoa, no, this is odd.
This is out of my comfort zone. I don't like it.
Like, what is happening?
All right. Lady Chaotic.
Hello, I am Lady K or Lady Chaotic. Hola. I am primarily an Apex streamer. I'm primarily an Apex streamer. I just recently started doing Harry Potter cosplay on my TikTok, which has been super, super fun. I'm enjoying that a lot, actually. And I'm actually new to D&D. I've watched a lot of D&D and I've, kind of dabbled, but I've never actually played. So this is actually my first campaign with these guys here. I think it's going pretty well so far. So far, so good. We got, a little bit of craziness, but I now play in one campaign with Diz and these guys, and then I play with these guys also in Sly's campaign as well. So now I'm running 2 campaigns, and now I probably should say I'm kind of addicted. So, fair enough.
Welcome to D&D Anonymous.
Yeah.
All right. Double Up Buck, the Admiral.
Well, I would say I mod for everybody here that streams, but that would be a lie now. I used to be able to make that claim. I blame Lady for that. But I play D&D often, and I play a halfling gunslinger that is literally me incarnate on a sheet of paper.
That's generally what people usually make their first character. I've noticed is,
But he's
very
not my
similar to
first
them.
character.
That's true, but I think he's the one closest to your heart. All right, Ellen,
All right.
talk about yourself.
Ew, why? Now I am actually Lady K's IRL bestie. We've known each other for longer than we're going to admit. We're not going to talk about that. Yeah, I played D&D a couple times, and then scheduling conflicts / personal issues with the DM and a move across a state. And then Lady was saying, hey, I kind of want to get a D&D group together. And I said, yes, we're doing this. It's happening. And I bugged her for months saying, hey, when are we going to play? So yes, very much something I enjoy. You can usually find me in chat on Lady's streams and causing shenanigans in her Discord.
There you go. Well, it is lovely to meet all of you.
Yes,
I like this.
is our
Lady K and Ellen seem to be the female version of you and I, Diz. Because
Pretty
I
much.
can
Diz and
see
I,
it.
Diz and I have literally known each other for like 35 years.
See, we can't
That-
claim that because we haven't been alive that long.
That is well, I have. There is dirt younger than me.
The guns away, Ellen. Jesus.
All right, so we're going to start this with a little section I like to call discussions. And I call it discussions because they're DM questions relating to Dr. Diz. So we're going to start there, see how it goes. This is going to be very informal, very fluid. If you have a question, though, I would ask that you hold it up until the end, where we will have an opportunity for the DM to ask questions of the players to ask questions of the DM, and for the audience to go, what the fuck have you guys been talking about for an hour? So here we go. Question one. You've told us so far, Diz, that you've been DMing for like 20 years, since the early aughts. Long ago when it was black and white. You had to make your own dice. So, now what people may not know is that before this campaign that we're doing right now, which is called Not Actually Heroes Cataclysm, that you actually ran a campaign with me and a few others from that campaign for 4 years.
Mhm.
After 4 years, the campaign ended. Wonderful campaign. Really enjoyed it. Very nice, Diz. Round of applause for you. You did good, kid.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, now this campaign and its sister campaign, The Forgotten, are actually sequels to that original campaign set 1,000 years in the future from that original campaign that we were in. Can you kind of explain what is going on in Cataclysm?
All right, so I can't give away a lot, but
No, what
just
is
the high
player
points.
appropriate that people
Just-
know?
Just the high
Damn.
points. So in the last campaign, it was set in Faerun as well, the Sword Coast. It actually started out from a module, Horde of the Dragon Queen. We were playing it, and as we were going through it, I didn't like. I would read the parts of the module we were going up to next, and I didn't like it, so I changed a lot of it around. Also, some of the players might have already read through that module, so I really wanted to change it up so that they didn't know what was going to happen. By the end of that module, I was just taking chapters out of it and like, no, I don't like this at all. So it completely changed it. So I really liked homebrewing it. So the second half of that campaign was completely homebrewed. After we finished Horde of the Dragon Queen, I think we were about probably level 12-ish in that range, probably. The rest of the levels on that was completely homebrewed, and I loved it. So starting this next campaign, I wanted it to be far enough into the future where, the players or the characters from the last one probably wouldn't be alive by natural means, at least. to be in this next campaign, but I wanted it to be in the same world so we could almost do some of the stuff like Bilbo's trolls, how they kind of find them in Lord of the Rings and their stone statues. We can kind of go sightseeing, at least from the player point of view, and kind of recall back. So this campaign is called Cataclysm. What has happened in the world is in the 1,000-year span, immediately after they beat the big bad of the last campaign, his name was Zanzir, and he was a wizard, necromancer, lich, demigod kind of. By the end, that's what it became. And he was trying to destroy reality. He was trying to destroy everything. Like, he was so vengeful about everything. He was trying to unmake everything, the gods and everything. So they defeated him. And after that, there was a span of peace for a while. Because of that span of peace, what usually happens is you have people that kind of start manipulating things, and you start having these little squabbles here and there, right? Over because there's no bad guy to fight, so people fight each other instead.
Right.
So
Curse
you
or
have
sudden
these
but
Sure.
inevitable betrayal.
you have these city states that start to form all over the continent. And even I think all of Faerun becomes city states, and they start battling over land. So I have a map of actually these city states that I don't think most of the players have even seen. But we know that there's tension between Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter. We know that they've kind of fought over the area that was Waterdeep, but is now destroyed in my campaign. It's complete ruins.
Sorry.
So during that time, we've got some squabbling going on, right? We have then we have this army that comes out from the Underdark. And if you don't know what the Underdark is, it's just kind of like the underworld of usually that just exists underneath the continents on Torel. So they come out and kind of try to take advantage of the chaos that's going on and try to attack the races on the surface and take over. So they have this long war that happens from that. And finally, the city states bond together again and push back the people from the Underdark. They've got them on the run, basically, and then something happens. Part of Faerun and Kar-Tor, imagine Faerun, Kar-Tor, and Zakara as being almost like Europe, Asia, and Africa, kind of that layout, right? So in between Faerun and Kar-Tor, which would be Europe and Asia, a large landmass just disappears. It either falls into the ocean or just the gods rip it out, of this dimension. But there was a lot of battling happening there. So everybody that was fighting there, they're all gone. They're dead or they're missing. So that is what we call the cataclysm. That's what we're considering the cataclysm, and when they talk about it in the game. But nobody actually knows what has happened. So hopefully this party will kind of figure that out towards the end of the game. So that's a synopsis, I guess, from the last campaign into this one.
All
Hopefully it
right.
wasn't too long.
Before we continue, we have Sweet Poison 02 in Diz's chat asking if everyone could give their pronouns. That way they can discuss with the stream better.
Yeah, I guess I would be he, him, right? So
You're he, him. Yeah. I
Yep.
told them that I was he, him.
yep.
She, her.
See her as well.
Double bucket asshole.
Just refer to him as asshole.
But he earned it. He's proud of it. All
There you go.
right.
Yep.
So there you
I actually
go.
put it in chat.
Yep.
Love it.
All right. So you talked a little bit about cataclysm stuff. So what are some of the things that were going through your head that you said, I want to do a sequel instead of just making, some people will go and make a whole new campaign, whole new everything. The stories are not connected at all, kind of like a Final Fantasy sequel. This one though is, like I said, a direct sequel to the other one. So what made you decide to go that direction?
So, I have nothing against starting a completely new game in
Hmm.
a different world and all that. And I actually had a brief stint of a game that did that, but that game kind of didn't last. Scheduling conflicts and such, like Ellen said, happened, and it kind of just fell apart. But after that, I really thought about it, and there was a lot of stories left in from my last campaign that were just not finished. Like there
Hmm.
was parts that were there that I really wanted to, and I really had developed some characters and stuff in that one in that world. And even though that we're 1,000 years in the future, and a lot of those characters should be gone, maybe not. Who knows? Um,
Spoilers.
uh, um, there will be remnants of them that I could go back and touch on, and we even experienced one thing early on in this campaign where I had made a whole castle worth of stuff to explore and treasure to find and monsters to fight. And the party snuck through the whole thing. They just snuck around everything and got out of there as quickly as possible. So we kind of experienced it wasn't the full castle, but we got to experience a little bit of the taste of what what some of the stuff was in there, and some of the treasure was found, and it was really cool because it was high level stuff you guys were getting at low levels. This was before Lady and Ellen had joined us,
I was
but
gonna say, I don't think I know about this
Yeah.
I was
part.
gonna say, nope, we missed the loot.
yep,
Yeah.
yep, Miss
She would
Salute.
remember the loot.
Ellen definitely would remember the loot.
That's what me.
Lost a
never.
party member there.
I smell some gold. It's away. All right. What are some of the challenges that you faced doing a sequel?
So the sequel, I'd say the biggest challenge that I run into so far is that um, I'm playing with some of the players that played in the previous game. It's about 50-50, right?
Mhm.
So the new players will come up on something in game, and the player and the character don't know anything about it. Like it's like a little clue or a breadcrumb, or maybe it doesn't mean anything, but it's just remnants from an old, part of the last campaign. And like they see these things as players and characters, and they either might skim over it or they might be like, "Ooh, that's interesting. I'll write a note about that." But then I have, other players that have experienced it and kind of know maybe what it is, and they get real excited about it. And I think it's hard to manage the excitement of because I don't want everybody to like give things away because their characters in game are brand new characters, even though the players are the same.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's
I'll say
hard to
not knowing
manage the
is great.
excitement. It is
Zombie
the
beholders
Not
mystery.
knowing
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It makes it better.
yeah. So it's hard, and it's as being a DM, I know all of the secrets. So sometimes it's hard for me to keep those to myself. I really feel isolated sometimes. Um, I experienced that from the last campaign. I felt like I was alone for 4 years DMing. Um, and you really want to like share that stuff with the players, but many DMs will they say, do not give into that urge. After the sessions, players will be like, hey, if this happened or if I did this, would this have been different? They're like, don't tell them. Do not tell them. Leave it a
Guilty.
mystery. Yep,
I
yep, 'cause
100%
you
appreciate
want
that
to know.
from you, because like especially being new to D&D in general, it's so hard to be a character and just completely wash that stuff out of your brain. I mean, you know because you're you, but at the same
Yeah.
time, like
Yeah.
it's I know it's gonna be so hard on you to not share because you've built it, right? You're so excited to
Yeah.
share all of it. And then we go and do things like skip a whole castle where you spent all your time putting it into it. Then we miss it
Exactly.
all.
And the cool part though is I get to feel a little bit of that where I helped you create some of this stuff. So when things happen that I'd honestly forgotten about, and then it happens, I'm like, oh, I know.
This is
Oh. Yeah, this is it. And it's so cool. I'm just like, oh, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. So yeah, I kind of understand where you're coming from on that. Where you're like, you want to share it so you can see everybody go, oh, that was awesome. But then you can't give it away because it's going to give story beats away for a while now.
Mhm.
Is there anything, Diz, looking back on the new campaign, that knowing what you know now, that you would change if you restarted, if you could go back in time and restart this campaign?
So I would say every DM, you never get past that. No matter how good you think you are, you will go through a session, and when you end it, almost immediately, if not the next day, you'll be like, God, I should have did this. That would have been so much cooler, Or, if I'd have done this, the players might have caught on to those clues I was dropping, You
Yeah.
immediately second guess yourself. So I don't live on those moments though. I do experience them, but I don't
Hmm.
I don't keep them with me. I just flush them away. I just let them pass, and like, well, I got to live with what I did. So we'll go from here. But in the
All
last
right.
campaign, is there anything that I would change? Like one thing, probably the last battle. It was fun, but I really wanted there to be maybe almost like a mechanic to the fight as well, like something with the actual battlefield that you guys were on. That's something like maybe you had to stand in a certain spot, or certain runes had to be activated, or something like that. Almost like when you play Destiny, that there's usually a mechanic with the boss fight or something like that.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that maybe something like that would have been. But even though we didn't, it was a pretty epic fight still. So
It was. I was there. Speaking of which, we have a question from the audience actually for you, Diz, about things that you would change in the previous campaign. And the question is, would you still send Agminos to the abyss?
100% yes. Yes.
I don't think that was from the chat
Was
there,
it the
folks. I'm
audience?
pretty sure
It's
that's
Was
the
it the
host.
audience?
I'm pretty
It's
sure
in
that the
chat.
host wanted to say it and he put it in himself. And that
Yeah,
is
you
just,
see it.
yeah, I see you posted it.
If you're in my chat, you can see it was a legitimate question from the audience. I didn't read the name. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
Hey,
Uh-huh.
if you were gonna do that, you should have messaged Timmy or Baker and had them ask it.
Yeah, you could have done better.
You could have easily gotten that through.
All right. Okay. So now we'll give you a little bit of a break, Diz, and we'll
Okay.
go to the players. I guess we'll start here with Lady K. Lady K, if you would tell us a little bit about your character.
Yeah. So currently right now in this campaign, I am playing a Tabaxi wizard, and her name is Adara. And she is super cool. One of the things I like about her the best is her backstory is interesting. It's different. I wanted her to have kind of a noble like attire and like where she comes from. So she comes from a high elven kingdom. She was a pretty much like a what are the right words, Diz? Because the title is escaping me right now. She's essentially an
So
advisor, like a magical advisor
yeah,
to the king, the elven king. And her
almost like a
thought
court
process is,
mage.
yeah, like she gives magical advice in terms of war to the king. And she kind of has like a gypsy feel to her. She's, kind of fun and quirky, has earrings and different things. And she studies divination. So she can see the future, and she gets premonitions and different things. And one thing that my character is currently experiencing is that she was sent here because she keeps having the same premonition and it won't go away. So her job right now is to really do what she's supposed to do to get that back, essentially.
Okay. So what made you decide to play a Tabaxi mage?
So there is a lovely lady by the name of Caustic Phoenix. If you don't know who that is, she is amazing. She is part of Captain Robert's crew and has been with them for quite a long time. And she was always somebody I enjoyed watching and just looked up to because she's so quirky. And she used to play a tabaxi, and I just really liked the thought and how they operate and move. And it was just, I wanted something different. My first character ended up being an elf. I feel like most people's probably are, or something similar, something simple. And so I wanted to do something different. So I chose Tabaxi this term around just to give her kind of a different flair to her.
All right. Doublebuck, the Admiral. Tell us a little bit about your character in this campaign.
Well, first off, I want to say that Lady's character's broken on her seeing the future because she sure shit didn't see JD coming.
No. Well, she doesn't have any visions right now, so she only has one.
He scared the hell out of her when he showed up. Because back to the party.
No one expects the JD Inquisition.
Right. So I play a gunslinger halfling that he served in the military. He got discharged on conduct unbecoming an officer due to being set up by a fellow member of the unit he was in.
Yeah.
And so JD has left there to go try to find adventuring parties to be able to see the world, because JD left his home to find out why his family's whiskey is so sought after throughout the realm. And he thought the best way to do it was to join the military, and then found out that the best way to do it is to join an adventuring guild that was going to go wherever in the world. He's very angry. He doesn't really trust anybody because he's always been looked down upon and mistreated because of his size and who he is. And then after what happened in the service, he sure as hell doesn't trust anybody because the people he was closest to betrayed him. So the party gets to experience that because JD will help you if y'all have the same common interest. But once you start to do something that he doesn't care a damn about, if you die, you die. If you go off on your own, it's whatever, because he doesn't have an interest in caring at that point.
He has also pointed his firearms at party members in the past.
And I've threatened to kill one, yes.
That's true.
And
That's true.
Anybody in chat in the next episode or two of our campaign, you should show up because I'm going to threaten one other person with a gun in our party.
Gonna get spicy.
So there is that. But the person that betrayed JD in his life, JD has since killed.
Yep.
He did it in front of his own party members to
Including
save the
complete
life.
strangers.
That's true.
To save the life of his cleric friend that he's known for over a year.
And I do want to get back to that here in just a second. I have a question regarding that, but I want to give. So you're playing Halfling Gunslinger. What made you decide Halfling Gunslinger?
Because that was the best class that I could put every part of me into, short of the loyal, honorable side of the house, which is what my first character.
Oh.
I don't know what
Hash-
it's doing.
Hashtag we break shit.
It's true. We
It's
do.
back
We
up
break.
now.
We break
Yeah.
it is.
Got it back.
All right, we're back. We're back. Moment. OBS, cut that shit out.
Or don't cut that shit out.
Or
Do I need to
whatever.
get JD?
When it
take care
goes
of
on
OBS?
YouTube, we will cut that shit out. So- all right. So, Ellen,
Mm-hmm.
tell us a little bit about our little pirate friend.
You're calling her little. She's not little per se. My character is as far as the party knows, human. Swashbuckler
Oh.
rogue. They don't know any different.
That's true. I don't know any different.
Lot of abandonment issues and such in her childhood, and she joined a pirate crew. Left that crew for reasons we are not going to disclose for the sake of story. And for the past 18 years has essentially been a sword for hire And when the party found her, she was in a prison cell. And only one of them actually asked her why she was there. And it was a prison cell saved for the worst of the worst criminals. And it turns out she kind of was felt up in a tavern and cut the hand off the guy who did it. But the guy was related to a powerful politician in the area. So she was thrown in prison.
Same thing happened to me.
It was perfectly justified.
Yeah, well, I mean, as long as you say justified before you do it, then they shouldn't have threw you in prison. That's the rules.
I mean,
so what made you decide to play this character?
So in one of my previous campaigns that didn't work out, I had built a swashbuckler rogue, and I loved her. She was so much fun to play. I had so many ideas for her story, and I was just so engaged in um, getting to play that through. And then life happened, and I didn't get to see things through with her. So when we started up this, when we were asked to join this campaign, I said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna be a pirate." Because who
Fair.
doesn't want to be a pirate?
She's talked about this pirate
Exactly.
a lot, by the way. Before she actually got to do it when Diz asked us to join this campaign, she was like, "I'm gonna play the pirate." And I was like, "Okay."
No, she was talking
Uh-huh.
about being a rogue, and I was like, she wouldn't be a pirate rogue though. It'd still be fine.
You were like, don't you dare.
I was like, "Bitch, I will end you."
All right. So as the players, how are you enjoying the campaign so far? Which is going to be a little bit different. Lady K, Ellen, you both are new to the campaign. Buck has been around since the beginning of the campaign. So for the two of you that are the newest, how do you think it? How are you enjoying it so far? Coming in on a campaign that was already in progress.
I mean, it's hilarious to see the group dynamics that already were put together. Oh, her headset died. um, the group dynamics and just seeing the other characters already playing off each other has been hilarious. It's just been so much fun to dive into that, and I'm just excited to keep playing it out and to see those relationships build and actually see our characters become part of the party and have them get engaged with the rest of them as well.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. Especially because, you know, when we came in at such an interesting point in the story that it was
mid prison break.
Yeah, you know, mid prison break, we're like, here's two new characters, you know, and luckily, ironically enough, you know, my character being noble fit in very well with one side of the party where they were at the time, and Ellen's character being a swashbuckling pirate fit really well into the prison situation that they were in.
Sense.
So luckily, like, it was almost perfect for the characters we chose to put them into that part of the story. However, we really haven't got to like know the current characters. Pretty much we're all just kind of like, all right, we're all together and we have to do this, so here we go. Like, so I'm interested for them to develop their relationships and really like start to create some bonds, and, you know, have maybe a couple people who are more closely like friends than other people, and seeing just where the role play goes, because we have such a diverse group of people and characters that it could literally go anywhere.
Yeah. Also, something about this campaign that people in chat may not know, and that you and Ellen may not know either. This group of characters has been very much in flux since the campaign started.
I've heard.
I mean, which is also kind of a plus for bringing in new characters, because there's never been time for the party to really congeal together and set, you know, firm and establish relationships with each other, because generally the lifespan of a character so far in this campaign is about 3 episodes, and then they go away and then a new one takes over.
We've made it 3. We have made
That's
it 3.
true.
Yes.
Welcome. And I know that for Diz, you know, he doesn't mind people switching characters and stuff, but it does put a little bit of pressure on him, because then he has to fix storylines and stuff like that. So I know that's the thing, but I think that is a plus for bringing in new characters like your alls. Well, let's say you, Buck. You've been around since the beginning. I
I
think
want to
you're
go on
muted.
record
There you go.
on saying to what you said just now about the life expectancy. JD has not killed another player's character yet.
That's true.
Yet.
There has been no deaths caused by JD.
Well, that's not
Well,
true.
well,
but
Well, of
But
the party.
I
of the
killed my
party.
own. I killed my own character, but that's beside the point.
That is true.
But to answer your question on being here since the beginning, there's been a lot of weird turns that has transpired since the beginning. JD left the party and he wasn't really going to leave the party, but nobody in the party offered to give him a ride on their horse after he offered the merchants his horse so that they could get their wagon back to town. So that's why JD left the party was, well, my horse is leaving. I'm not walking and nobody cares enough to let me ride with them. So JD went on back. He had a secondary reason for going, but that was his biggest one, which I told you and Diz both about, was the fact that nobody offered me a ride. So I said, the hell with it. But with JD doing that, he's learned more things and experienced more things than the rest of the party has. Like he knows what's happening in other parts of the world that the other people don't know.
Yeah.
And so he's got to see more and do more just because he wasn't there than he would have got to had he been with the party the whole time.
Yeah. Which brings up another question for you, Buck. Kind of a two-parter. One, how did it feel to kind of have your own side quest with JD? And then the follow-up to that is, how did it feel to play another character for a while, specifically the arch nemesis of your main character?
Well, the first part I thought was interesting because, Diz didn't bring this up to me at all about JD was going on his own little adventure. We started an episode and Diz said, all of y'all that are going to be part of this next little side quest, if you made a character, pull up their character sheet. And then Diz said, oh, by the way, when this happens, you're going to get an amulet that allows you to up your player level and you're leaving Baldur's Gate to Icewind Dale. And I'm like, dude, what? Like, didn't have a clue that was coming. And now JD's traveling, the other end of the world to go fight some vampire lord. Doesn't have a clue what he's doing. But in his mind, he was like, well, they need help. They're paying me. Hell with it. I ain't got nothing else to do. Let's go. So that's why JD took off to go do his little side quest. But he learned a lot that could be beneficial to the party once he finally has a chance to relay that information.
Right.
The other question, the other part was fun because I had that character day one. Two people looked at me like, no, there's no damn way that I'm trusting this guy. Not going to trust to tell him anything that we're doing. Not going to let him be involved with anything that we're really doing because they didn't trust him. 2 episodes after that, Galen is going to take care of some of the most important shit leading up to that prison break by himself. And so I pulled the wool over the entire party's eyes that they thought he was just an all right guy. And then you find out in that episode when JD confronts him that he's actually a bad guy. And he's been a bad guy the entire time he's been in the party. Mm-hmm. And so to play him and not do anything evil at all and not direct my anger or frustrations or anything towards party members made it interesting because I was waiting to have to be playing deception constantly.
Yeah.
And then it never transpired. But then again, Diz gave me the opportunity to play one more character in that town.
Yep. And that is true.
To be completely honest, if that character hadn't have shown up, a couple of y'all would have died at least once.
That is true.
It was a character that was really close to his heart. And,
well, it's close to something. I don't know about my heart. Not by that name.
Right. And I do want to get into that. but next time we'll talk about that character. Definitely. All right. So, Lady K, Ellen, we talked a little bit about it a minute ago. You guys were coming into a campaign that was already kind of established or in the process of establishing. Did you guys have any trepidation at all with coming in, or were you think, oh, I'm fine, there's not going to be any problems, we'll just do it?
I mean, there was a little bit because we knew you guys already and we knew Sly, but it was coming into this group and being like, oh, these are people that we've never seen before. Hi, we're going to do weird, nerdy shit together. This is fun.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't know. I'm a big people person. You guys know me. I can pretty much talk to anybody. So for me, like I don't know. I was thrown into a really good spot. I think my only real worry when I was coming into the campaign wasn't really the people that I was worried about, but more so how was I going to come in and incorporate this character out of nowhere into a situation that you guys had kind of been building up to for a while. You know, you guys have your own relationships kind of not super tight, but like you have things that you guys have already kind of worked out, like
Yeah.
Sly's character Yarman and Exire are close, and to kind of just, you know, my character came into a sit down party essentially with the Duke, and I had to kind of put myself into what was kind of a tense situation. And my character I was like, gosh, like, what do I do? Like, how do I play this out? How do I introduce this character into such a tense moment where, you know, they're trying to decide, well, do we kill this guy or do we talk to him? Which we were supposed to talk to him. That didn't end up happening.
Very rarely.
I blame the
does it.
vampire.
There's a lot of murder hobos in our party. But the reason I ask that is really simple. It wasn't to call you guys out or whatever, but there could be a lot of people that are in chat or watching this later on YouTube that are new to D&D, have never played it before, or will be joining a campaign that's already in progress. So it's a good, kind of perspective to say, oh, I'm a little scared about joining this campaign, but I'm not the only person that has ever felt this way. It's
definitely scary. Like I know Ellen for sure was a little stressed. I mean, I'm her best friend. So I was
like, fuck, more D&D, but I don't know these people.
They could be weird.
The best advice I could give,
Glenn, I put up with you. Come on.
That's true. I mean,
come on.
If you can put up with me, you can put up with anybody.
The shit we're pulling in the other campaign.
Exactly. I almost killed her one time. I apologize for that. I did not mean.
And this is not. He almost killed my character. This is. He said something. I laughed and I choked on my drink.
We almost had an actual player death. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cast member death, as you were.
That happened.
Yes.
That's right. A member of the cast has fallen.
But yeah, it's one of those things where you can't really be scared. One of the best mindsets to think about when you're going in as a new character is to separate the actual people side of it. If it's something for you that, people are, you're not used to being around people, or you're worried about meeting new people, just kind of dive into your character and really think, what would my character do? And that kind of separates you a little bit from the situation and allows you to really like dive in and kind of get some of that nervousness out of there. Because that's really what I did. Was I was like, what would this character do in this situation? And she's a diplomat, and she tried to kind of help diplomatically do things however other people had other intentions. So
yeah, of course. Did your OBS die, Diz?
Well, it's dropping frames. I think it's more the internet.
All right, yeah, it's back.
Yeah, it's like a
all right.
Up and down.
So now let's get into this campaign, the story, the previous episode, stuff like that. So, Diz, how do you think everything's going with the campaign so far? And how did you like the previous episode?
Well, I really liked how the campaign started. I don't know if everybody liked how it started. It was a bit intense. And you were helping me at that time.
Yeah.
And you were on board.
I wanted to kill them with vampires.
I definitely want to briefly touch on it. So they had just rescued a girl who looked just like one of the other party members, and they were bringing her out of this like out of this underground place into this warehouse that was kind of disguising this place, and they walk outside, and a sniper takes out the NPC that they just saved that looks just like the other party member, like right in the arms of that party member. Instant death of the NPC,
True
and
death, Suki.
then everybody goes into like scramble mode, and then Buck here, his character, hears something and realizes that the building is blowing up from underneath them up, and they all run, and the building blows up. So
Oh.
if you haven't watched it,
Michael
it's up
Bay
there on
style.
YouTube.
Dramatic
it
action
is pretty
movie
good.
style.
Wow.
It was.
It's pretty
Michael Bay would have
intense.
been proud.
And the only
But-
reason JD heard it is because I was trying to disable the door that allowed it to open to lead down into that building underground when he said it started to chain reaction explode.
But I won't lie, we've had a little bit of rocky go on, people playing and stuff like that. But we've kind of worked through that, and now we actually have 10 people playing, which is more than any other game I've ran. But I think we're doing it pretty well. We just have to be courteous of everybody. So I think that's going to, story-wise, you guys are just now getting into the actual like meat of the story here, and I really love it myself.
Yeah,
I
I
think
know
it's
what's
going
coming up.
perfectly.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I
This
think
next part's gonna be
everybody will.
amazing.
I think everybody will enjoy this next part. Definitely,
Yeah.
100%. I'm excited
Yeah.
for it.
The chat will enjoy it. The players will
Yes.
enjoy it. The characters may or may not enjoy it. I don't know.
Characters may or may not live.
I guarantee JD won't, but that's because it's JD.
Yeah.
All right, Buck, what about you? How have you liked everything so far? And what about the previous episode? How did that go for you?
I had to laugh about the previous episode because, Yarman almost dying when we have literally a weapons expert / explosive expert in the party that could have clearly cleared that whole barricaded chimney flute without any issues that goes up after he almost dies. So I'm kind of over here laughing, going, well, he's being Yarman and being stupid when we could have easily done this a lot better.
He was the one who could climb.
But
He was the one who was most likely to make it to the top like a spider monkey. So we let him.
But
I mean, it's a good reason.
It was interesting because, hearing y'all's old campaign, not getting to watch all of it or any of that, but getting to hear bits and pieces, I knew where we were when we got there. And I'm like, oh, I know what happened here, even though I wasn't a part of it. And that was interesting because that meant that we hit a spot that, Diz had set up in a previous campaign that they never got to explore because they lost 2 party members and they all hauled ass out of there so they didn't lose anybody else.
We were
so
triumphant.
getting to explore that was great because we got to go further than what y'all had previously. As far as campaign goes, I've enjoyed it for the most part. There's, like Dis said, there's been attendance issues that have kind of caused us to have issues here and there on certain comments or people not knowing where we are in the story when they do show up. So that makes it a little off. But as far as the campaign story, it's good so far.
Lady?
Yeah, I mean, so far I've really enjoyed it. The past episode was a lot of fun. We totally robbed that dude blind. For sure. Let's just say we pulled a lot of loot out of that area that was over there, and we were not expecting to not fight over there.
And the rogue didn't take shit.
Yeah,
Breaking
the rogue didn't take
stereotypes one
anything.
session at a time.
The rogue was very unroguish.
But
The
he was
rogue
very
was looking for a way out.
He was
Can
like,
I
here,
admit
you
one
can take
thing?
it.
From last
Yeah.
episode,
Yeah.
I thought Ellen's character would have opened that one chest, not Yarman.
He was focused. So
when
wait,
I was
you wanted
when
her
I
to
was-
get? Oh, that.
I didn't
chest.
want to, but I figured that's what would happen, and that's what always expect the unexpected as the DM. But
So,
I figured
yeah,
the rogue would
vendetta.
unlock the chest, but you did not.
Yeah, Yarman getting sucked in. I knew as soon as I was like, I'm gonna reach out and grab him. I was like, no, she's not. Her strength is terrible. Like, there's no shot. And I rolled absolutely horrid. And I was like, yep, he's gone. Bye. See ya. Because I knew it was. And I mean, I had detect magic on, so I knew there was something wrong with it. But Yarman's character is just so. He's so out there. It's
he's a
such a
monk.
cool character to have. He does what he wants, and man, did he do what he wanted.
That's true. He did. He did. What about you, Ellen? What do you think about everything?
it's just hilarious to watch how stuff plays out.
Yeah.
And trying to focus on doing things true to character, because in that situation she's very survival focused. So her first priority was like, all right, how are we going to get the hell out of here before I start taking all of this shit? So her priority was, all right, is there another exit? And then everybody else comes in and starts, filling their pockets. So it's just been fun to kind of see how things play out, because I'm somebody, the session ends and I'm already playing out how next week's going to go in my head.
She doesn't
Yep.
sleep, guys. She
I
doesn't
don't.
So
I
Ellen's
don't.
character
D&D hangover is real.
last week is kind of like Buck and Ark, right? He's all focused on survival, immediately level 65 when he logs in, knows how to build everything. She's looking for an exit, making sure we're ready to go.
I will say the one thing that shocked me the most was how willing everybody was to trust this guy for us to go back through the beholder door. That I feel like everybody was like, I guess this is what we're gonna do. And I was like, I'm not doing that. Like I was like, I don't care what we gotta do. I'm not doing that. Because one, Clan wasn't there to play his character. And Clan is the sole reason we really slipped through there the first time without mass casualty. So when I was like sitting there and I realized there was no door in the other room, I was like,
Yeah.
there's got to be another way out. Like, there's got to be something. And then it like clicked in my head. I was like, there's a fireplace. I was like, fireplaces don't not have chimneys. Like, that would be weird. And so I was like, you know what? I bet we can get out of there. It might not be easy. And it wasn't, because Yarman almost died. But I 100% was like, my character was like, we are not. No.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily that I was trusting him. It was, okay, this is the only option. It was all right, how are we going to make this work so that we can get the fuck out of here and survive?
Well, if y'all remember when Diz asked me what I was doing after Haddock walked away from me and I told him I was formulating a plan, JD was sitting there the whole time thinking of the best way to make this work without anybody dying.
Mm-hmm.
I believe you.
That's how JD works. That's his military mindset of, all right, what's the task? We got our medal. Now we got to get out. How do we get out without everybody dying?
Yeah, I was concerned. I was concerned with him being able to really actually control those two creatures.
Did you like how I just kind of threw the fireplace in as in passing and nobody even noticed it until Lady's like, on?
I was like, oh, fireplace.
It's funny because the two that went to go check it were the two that never stepped foot in that room to start with.
She says, oh, there was a fireplace. And we're like, why the fuck didn't you say so?
Right?
We were busy.
Like, we were looking for a way out in here.
The two survivalists are like, oh, fireplace, hang on. And we take off running, like, we'll go check.
Yeah.
Listen, man, she was looking for a door. She comes from a noble place, she's looking for doors.
Gotta be a door somewhere. And I say I wasn't there, unfortunately. I was sick, but my character became a singing paladin.
That is true.
Which is awesome. I love it. Russ is free to play my character at any time.
Yeah, y'all got to go back and watch that because that was great. That's now canon. Yep. Clan officially has to sing every time now.
There you go. I'm one level bard. And you can, if you're in my chat, you can see it there in chat. You can go to youtube.com/nerdcopia_network and look at all of the past episodes of our campaign. It's very cool. I like it myself. So we're at the final part of the night. So now is when I'm going to open it up. We'll do this every episode. I'll open it up for questions. So this is the time that Diz, being the DM, can ask questions of the players.
Mhm.
Players can ask questions of the DM, and anyone in chat can feel free to ask any question that you want. That's why we're here. So I'm open the floor to everybody. If you have a question, please ask it now.
Put everybody on
It's
the
just a
spot.
part where-
Crickets.
Listen,
Yeah, I know. Nobody's asking
I
questions.
don't know this ahead of time,
The questions I want to ask, I would not get the answer to.
Yeah,
right?
You
you,
could
you
s-
can't know about future events. That
What I
doesn't
will
count.
say is, Diz, how bad did you want us to actually go back through the door?
Into the beholder room.
Mhm.
I would say that I would have really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the entire experience of you guys being in the room. You guys were in a room for 4 hours. Just in one room. No
Mhm.
combat, just in a room looking around for 4 hours. I was like, how is this happening? I don't understand what's going on. But I would have loved it if you guys would have opened the door. Because then I would have had to figure out if did the fire elemental actually, how much
Do
damage did it do to
damage.
these
Oh, yeah.
beholders?
Yeah, how much
Did-
damage does a fire elemental do? If a fire
Did
elemental
it get
do damage?
disintegrated right after you guys went in there? Did it just get disintegrated by
So
one
it
of the
saved you
beholders?
from math.
It did save me from some
I can
math.
save you from a lot of math.
But you guys being magical, I figured there was endless ways that you probably could have got out of this place. So
And it came down to an explosive.
it came down to a monk and some explosives. Yep.
There you go. All right. Any other questions?
Consider we probably will never go back into what is now dubbed the hellhole. Was the trigger mechanism on the statue that had to open that door, Diz?
Was it on the statue? I have to go back to that statement that I said earlier. It's really hard to say.
I told you the questions I would want to ask, he's not going to answer.
I do tell the players at the end of the campaign, write down any questions you have, and I will answer any
That's one of them.
question
Well,
There you
no,
that you guys
I-
have. about these
it's
things.
not that big of a deal. I was just wondering because that's where JD would have headed had we opened that door.
The real question is will we have enough metal to fix the ship?
Yeah.
That is a question. That is a question.
Guys
It's
do
something
have
I was
a lot
thinking
of
about as we
metal.
were down there. I'm like, well, we didn't kill the 2 beholders and steal any of that metal. So let's
I
hope
mean,
that
if we
the
don't,
4 bodies
we're
we
s-
got, we're good.
If we don't, we're stripping Sir Eldrick first of all his armor, and then we're stripping Prugwin of his armor.
Well, somebody can trade out armor because we did get that one
Listen.
armor.
Sir Eldrick looks amazing naked.
Hey, everybody in the initial party knows what JD looks like naked because he has stood in a doorway in all his or a window in all his
Just
glory
saying,
and shot
he-
vampires.
He has a magical longsword, and I'm not talking about his weapon.
Well, that's good because you dropped that in the sewer and almost lost it.
I got it back.
Oh my gosh, I remember
back.
that.
Oh, man.
Got
I
it
do have a
back.
question. What do you guys think about the combat? Because usually, I mean, we have 10 people that play, but most of the time we only have about 9 or less, 9 or 8 that can show up and play. The more players you have, usually combat stretches out and becomes long. Like you'll do 1 round of combat, and it'll take you 45 minutes to an hour.
Mhm.
Are you guys getting bored? How do you feel about it? Is it okay? I mean, is it just, it is what it is?
I'll say that at least so far, the combat that I've been in with everybody, since now we have this larger than life party,
Mhm.
I don't feel like we've had the problems that we had before yet with combat. I mean, yeah, combat takes a while, but I mean, you're going through, 10 characters,
Mhm.
9 to 10 characters at a time. But so far, I have to say, I've not really had a point where I'm like, God, well, should they already know what they're doing? I mean, God, what's going on? I've not ran into that yet myself. Now, other people may be different, and feel free to say that No, Santa, that's not what I thought. I suck.
No, so my one request would be maybe in combat saying, okay, this person's up next, make your plan. Because me, I get distracted easily. So hearing that, hey, Ellen, you're next. It's like, oh shit, focus, listen, this is what you're doing, and get that figured out ahead of time. So just giving that, by the way, this person's after this one might make it move a little bit smoother. If
Yeah, I think
Usually,
there's so many
says,
people.
Usually there's a turn tracker inside of D&D Beyond that I have up that you can look at and see, who's up next. And I do try to tell the people who's up next, but I don't always do it because usually I'm
You
like,
sidetrack.
okay, doing math and the beholder's doing this.
Right.
Ellen wants to do this and it does this. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
The
that's
only
why I
thing-
co-DM'd for a little
yeah,
while.
so-
yeah.
So we could kind of split that up a little bit.
Yeah. The only thing that I find is hard. I mean, when you have, let's say, 9 to 10 people playing and making decisions, your decision could change instantaneously. One small change in what somebody else does can completely change everything that you want to do. For example, I worked my way around the beholders, and I had taken Sickening Radiance, which is a dope spell. It's super cool, does a lot of damage, and I was like, this will be perfect. Well, Clan scared him away, and then I was like, well, God, what do I do? Like, what do I do now? Like, I ran into the problem of the person before you could completely blow up everything that you're just
Oh yeah, 100% that can happen.
And it's sometimes it's hard to, when you have that many people. Like when you're going through a couple of people, it's a little easier because you can kind of anticipate and decide what's going on. But 9 people, couple people down the road, you're like, oh God, well now what am I gonna do? What do I do now?
Yeah.
I would say there's only one issue that we have as a whole.
I agree with Buck on this because I know exactly what you want to say.
You might not. I've voiced this to Diz and Clan both a couple times now. The mouth running in the middle of combat gets out of hand. It's one thing somebody makes a joke, like somebody says, I do A, B, or C, and then somebody makes a joke about it, fine. But when it takes a 5-minute detour out of combat, that shouldn't really be happening.
Yeah.
Because that lengthens combat significantly, and then everybody forgets who's doing what. Like, even if Diz is focused on everything happening, if it's say Clan's turn and Josh makes a comment and everybody starts rattling off and following that comment, and then Diz is like, okay, who's next? Ellen, it's your turn. Well, Clan never finished his.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so that becomes a problem. Because then everybody gets lost at what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that as a group, that's something just we have to be conscious of because what happens is during these long combat rounds, people do get bored and we are just hanging out together too. So you want to like talk and stuff like that and laugh, and it's a natural thing, but it does lengthen out the encounters and stuff like that. What I always say is I prefer that the players do their comedy through their characters in game. Put the energy there. But crosstalk is going to happen. And even like they call it metagaming. Have you guys heard of that term, metagaming?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there is some metagaming in combat that DMs will usually allow to a point. Somebody will say, you probably should have done this or something like that, or hey, you wanted to do that. Now, I don't like other people telling other players how to play their characters or anything, but if it's like friendly and you guys are kind of let that stuff go by. But yep, I mean, Buck's right. We get together and I get into it too. I mean, I get distracted myself. And
I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I'm just saying as a whole, we
It's easy to do.
tend to lengthen combat because we interject conversation that doesn't have nothing to do with combat.
I officially like
Yeah.
Clan's method of putting all jokes into the chat because one, it makes the chat more exciting, and two, you can still have
That's
that
good too.
conversation and laugh about it without interrupting somebody else's turn.
Yeah, I like
So,
I like
I like
interacting
that a
with
lot.
everybody.
Yeah.
Not just
Mhm,
us, the players, but also chat. Because it's one thing, it's if you're sitting there just watching it, then it's kind of a one-way medium. If you're there with us live and doing it, you have the opportunity that a lot of people don't have. Where you can interact with a game live.
Mhm.
So that's always good, and hopefully that allows our individual personalities to come out, not just our characters, but ours as well, and kind of build a rapport with the audience. That way, they want to come back.
Yeah.
I've been told that JD's personality is my personality in real life. So
No.
chat, if I'm talking as JD, I'm talking as Buck.
That's
Just so
true.
everybody knows.
They're one and the same. All right. Does anybody have any more questions or anything before we go?
Yes, Diz, when you gonna let me make a sniper rifle?
I think that's a good question.
I'm not sure. That's the official answer at the moment. They do exist, so you've actually been shot at by them. So-
Right?
Yeah.
I want to
They
find that
definitely
dude,
exist.
blow his head
Buck's
off,
like,
and
I
take
want
his
one.
gun.
Every
There
time
you
they
go.
get shot, I want one.
No, I just want his. I've seen what it can do.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. Well, with that, everyone, I think we can officially bring the first episode, hopefully not the last, of After the Roll to a close. I hope everyone had a good time. I did. I think everyone else did too. We had some interactions from chat, which I really appreciate. Sweet Poison 02, hope you come back and watch us again over in Diz's chat.
Yeah.
Thanks for your questions and interacting with us while we talked. Diz, speaking of Not Actually Heroes Cataclysm,
Mhm.
when is the next episode of Not Actually Heroes Cataclysm?
So I think this Saturday we're playing in Josh's campaign,
Josh's.
which we don't stream. But then the following Saturday we're gonna have some more Not Actually Heroes
Which would
Cataclysm.
be April 9th.
There you go.
April
So
9th. That will be
April
episode
9th,
20.
8 p.m. Eastern Time, twitch.tv/Dr. Diz DM. Be there live and in person. You can hear us say, hey, why's the paladin naked? Good night, everybody.
And why the vampire died by a gunshot?
Good night.